Hey folks, welcome to Fun and FOMO, where my brother and I talk about money, investing, trading, and always getting smart exposure on our personal finance. I'm Adrian, your host.
And I'm Julian, a quant trader, the little brother and the smarter one. Basically, I live, breathe, eat quant. So everything about quantitative investment, either in crypto, stock, FX, and watches. I'm your guy.
Julian can definitely predict your weather using math, but we are not here talking about weather, right?
Yeah.
Today we have a very cool show for you. If you are interested, personal finance, how to invest in alternative assets and so on, I think is the show for you today. Maybe before we dive in, let's have a quick disclaimer. This content is strictly educational, not financial advice, not tax advice. Always do your own research, guys, okay?
We are trained professional. For what's coming, we are trained professional.
Julian, so today we will be talking about luxury watches. Any stuff you want to share? I know that you've been doing quite some quant research with your team. Like maybe we can talk about market dynamics also too. The reasoning behind like watch investments. We've been investing quite a lot in watches in the past years.
And following the markets.
And now following the market.
On the top brands. Yeah. So perhaps to give a bit of context, I think since like 2 years now, according to Bloomberg, luxury watches, especially Swiss made, are now an asset class. So that's super important. It's like it's a new asset class that was probably well known by many, I would say, old families decades ago. But I think for now, even for the retail, it's like an investment class. And that's super interesting.
Because this watch market is like now operating as a very specific, I would say, market. Yeah. Even though there is quite some correlation with some other markets. I have a bunch of questions for you today. But maybe let's get started with like the dynamics of the market. If you can tell us a bit more, like how is it working? How do you see how the trend came up and so on?
Yeah, so we're not going to talk about prices or market timing and everything. It's just to give like a global view for now. Definitely the watch market is super interesting. So because it's super singular, we're going to discuss about mainly top brands. We can quote few like Rolex, Patek Philippe, Richard Mille, Audemars Piguet, just to get kind of like the market dynamic. So it's a market that is mainly driven by retail investors. So that's something super singular. That is really illiquid, especially for few watches because of the supply that is super low. It's a not electronic market. No watches or no indexes are listed on any broker. And it's a new asset class, and the supply and demand is something very unique that we have, because definitely watches have an inflation. Watch manufacturers are producing watches every year, and the demand is something also very interesting because it's for us only based about how is the economy. When the economy is super bad, watch market can give like some feelings of what's going on in the markets. More generally speaking.
And there is another stuff that we had fun on is like the kind of a Wall Street index. Yeah. Which is now becoming kind of an index for us, I would say.
Yeah, I think watches are funny nowadays because they can be some kind of like the feeling of like, are we at the bottom of the market, top of the market? How is the economy running? Because a thing that is specific to watches is like you don't have any external, I would say, intervention. So the manipulation, like if someone wants to manipulate the watch market, it's a bit harder. And so I think it's a really pure index of how is the economy running.
Yeah, and you more recently like run like a quant research with some of your guys, mostly quant researcher, trying to pull out some correlation between whatever crypto markets, how the watch market is going. Like we are a bit in a winter when it comes to watches. Maybe a right time to buy, I don't know. But yeah, you've put quite some effort, like using math and so on, to try to find out some patterns. And I think definitely interesting to share here.
Yeah. So the purpose of this research is like, can we time the market regarding watches based on other like asset class like stocks, crypto? And the second thing is like, is it interesting to get exposure to watches? Like if at the end of the day it's like 100% correlated to like stocks or gold, or I don't know, there is no point buying watches. No. You will rather go on a more liquid asset. And the results are kind of like surprising. So basically the thing I think we cannot deny nowadays is like the watch market is really driven by the crypto market. I think the correlation is super high, and the kind of like euphoria you can get on the watch market is purely crypto driven. It's like guys in crypto that wants to secure a bit and like buy a few watches, or just guys in crypto perhaps making too much money, and so that's why they are getting into this luxurious asset, and that's the relevant thing. So if you want to get some different exposure than crypto or stocks, perhaps watches are not the best asset, but what's interesting is like to play with the market dynamics. So sometimes it's more interesting to get exposure to watches, sometimes a bit to crypto, and I think it's kind of like a cyclicity that is kind of like super interesting to play.
Maybe we can tell a bit more about our strategy when it comes to watches, because we've been like moving around here and there, and as a way to illustrate, I would say, your point when it comes to your research. What's our strategy today when it comes to watches?
So not sure we can reveal everything here and some practice, but let's say that I don't know if you want to go too specific, but I think what matters for us is to get into watches when the risk reward and the risk premium we are getting is interesting. So what I can see, for example, on my side is like, it's really not financial advice, it's like me explaining a bit my strategy. It's like, for watches, so we are summer 2023, I'm waiting still a bit to see perhaps either like SP 500 going down sharply, or either like having crypto really going back up, because I do think that the watch market is a bit lagging behind. And so if you have one of the two moving, perhaps you will either get the watch market going down a bit more, and so you can buy a discount, or you know that the watch market will follow with a bit of delay. So that would be the general idea.
Right now waiting something is getting worse, and then
aside if you have like some good opportunities, or if you get
specific or very specific,
like, very specific, or if you like have like a super like positive wealth event and you want to put a bit into watches or celebrate something, because at the end of the day, watches are, as we talk right now, a speculative asset, a collectible, but it's also like a cool collectible.
Basically, it's how we got started, right? It's basically not for speculation at all. It was more about like the love of
like, the brands, of like the message behind the brand.
And also putting some cash on the side, because we have a tendency to spend some cash or invest a bit too much, and so it was a way for us to put some few bucks into an asset that is not as liquid as we are used to, because end of the day we like assets that we can liquidate just with a click. So watches might quite different from what we are doing on a daily basis.
And I think it's also cool because it's illiquid, the idea is like, how do you compare watches? Is it better than gold, you know? And for example, I would rather have some specific watches in a safe than gold. So that's why also watches I think are interesting, and for many people we see around us is like, they had some gold swapping to watches because it's cooler, you can wear it. So of course,
but it's not as liquid.
No. Especially
it's one of the drawbacks.
And be super cautious. A small disclaimer here is like, for watches that are, let's say, over $30,000, $50,000, be super cautious because it's super illiquid.
It's another market, right?
It's another market.
And you need to have the proper connection to.
And two other disclaimer I would say is like, be super cautious with your safety, because nowadays, especially in top cities like London, Paris, you can really be like stabbed for a watch. So that's really the thing we don't want to see.
Yeah, you have a recent story about that, like in London.
Yeah, I had few friends in London, and it's really crazy, like how fast things go. So be super
and
cautious.
people in London are like super careful about
especially
like wearing
nowadays.
watches.
You cannot really wear anything, I would say, aside in Dubai, perhaps in the whole world, like even in the US.
Yeah.
And you had the other disclaimer is like, you had so many scams. And that's something we see more and more, especially nowadays. I think the first thing is like 90% of the watches you will see on Instagram, on the internet, are fake.
I've seen a stat, like it's like a bit less than 90%. It's like around 80% of luxury watches are fake.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
8 out of 10 are like fake watches when you are looking at watches around. So
but the thing is like, when buying, don't get scammed. And really, we see so many guys saying, "Oh, I've get like some discount. I've got a good price," you know, thinking they're making a bargain, but really they just got scammed with like some fake watches. And trust me, on new fake watches, like for example, let's say a Rolex, like a Submariner, that is a $1,000 fake one, so a really well-made one, if I can say that way. if you are not a pro, you can really not tell the difference between the two, and you would have to really open the box or really go into the indexes, how the bezel is like fluted, stuff like that, to really have an idea of like, is it real or is it genuine or fake. And even sometimes the watch can be genuine, but the bezel is fake, the dial can be fake, so be super cautious. So perhaps we can do a small shout out to like our dear friend Danny. DWL, we will post like all his links in description, especially his Instagram. It's really mind-blowing. He's basically, I think, the top luxury.
For me, he's one of the top watch seller I have ever seen.
Like,
the experience in the shop, the knowledge of the guy,
the watches
he has are insane. Like very specific model. When you are getting there, he will always surprise you with the watches that
and I think
you've never seen.
Even though nowadays, like, of course, he's selling kind of like an investment when he's selling a watch. He's really trying to give you the right advice and also bringing you something a bit unique, something a bit new in watches. That's super cool. Like,
he has definitely an out of the box way of like thinking about watches. And
he sees so many guys, so many big guys, and he knows what's a good investment, but also.
And he's super transparent too. I think it's something that is very cool to see in the watch market.
And his Instagram is really like inspiring. Like, I think it could be like
definitely
kind of a way to get motivating, because like
I think it's a very good motivational
because
like
it's like
Instagram way,
a never-ending cycle. If you look at all the watches he's like presenting and everything, it's really a never-ending cycle. So that's cool.
So maybe we can move on into like I would say more like a watch market prediction. You will do a bit the Nostradamus on this one. How do you see the watch market trends coming up, or like and any kind of prediction on specific brands and so on you see moving on forward?
I think it will definitely keep being an asset class that will perhaps will kind of like evolve, because like as I mentioned before, on some brands that are perhaps a bit like like that many prices are too high on few brands, because like people don't understand that the supply is really increasing at a fast pace. Like some watchmakers are really producing a lot of watches. So be cautious with that. Another bold prediction I would make is like, I do think that the watch market is going to evolve in something more professionalized, like perhaps even like we have some like indexes, something like that. I don't know, but as like with the NFTs, you have marketplace like OpenSea. So we have Chrono24. That is big. But
the data you use, you were like for your quant research, you have not been using like data from Chrono24.
No,
right?
I've been using from a specific provider.
Okay.
I'm not going to disclose here.
Okay.
Because actually there is a bunch
there
of
is quite some data on like pricing.
Actually, not from Chrono24. You can definitely do some scraping whatsoever, but the prices are not, because it's just like pricing display, not the stuff that really sells. So it's kind of like
it's
different.
Not as accurate.
And the prices on Chrono24 are like really like makes no sense.
Especially those past months, like the prices of like the discrepancy that we have in prices on Chrono24.
And that's about my predictions. Like, I think the watch market needs some really more sophisticated players to really bring also the watch experience to another level, because Chrono24, you still have some scams, the service is bad, and I definitely, it's a shame to say that not recommend them, even if they are the biggest one in the...
They're the one only, basically.
in the industry. It's better to go like P2P, go to the right shops, pay perhaps a premium, but get the best quality from the top guys.
I think from all the watches we bought, we always paid the premium, because we don't want any troubles, we don't want getting scammed or whatsoever, so I'm pretty okay paying the premium when it comes to watches. Maybe you can give us a bit more like detailed prediction. We want something more.
Detailed prediction, dropping some brand names. So we are a big fan of Richard Mille. I think they will definitely be accepted by the industry, because I think right now...
so far.
So I think they will be accepted by the industry, and they will really get
Basically, Richard Mille is something like, you have people that are like just crazy out of Richard Mille, and you have people that are like, Richard Mille.
But what I mean is like, even people criticizing Richard Mille will get to it, because they will understand like what's going on behind the scene, the research and everything, and I think they will all love it.
They have been evolving like pretty insane, like the way their mechanism.
Such a young brand,
for such a young brand, like because they have been like pointing out for like having mechanisms that are produced outside of Mille. And now they are like basically like creating a mechanism in-house. So I think great progress from Mille. And watches are like pretty sick, right?
Another one, a negative one, is like I do believe that Patek Philippe is a bit losing their soul. I think it's definitely still getting some traction from like old money, the kind of like this vibe, you know. But I think they have trouble trying to play the old money and like the fresh money, or like the guys who made it quick, and so they are a bit playing both ways. And I don't think it will drive really. Like you cannot be Patek Philippe and say I want to do Patek Philippe and kind of like the Richard Mille style with like too many specific stuff. And that's perhaps something to bounce on it is like Audemars Piguet. I've never really been a fan of Audemars Piguet, even though it's
there is some few watches from Audemars Piguet that are like mind-blowing, like the Genta ones, like more vintage, details, I would say. Though there is some crazy brand new watches too.
But on many brands.
Yeah, we have
but I
not
think
been
overhyped by
a bit.
Yeah, too much hype regarding Audemars Piguet. Even the prices, the second-hand market makes no sense. Be super cautious. The prices you pay. Some guys pay like 2 times the price from some watches. And I think they are a bit playing too much on the fact that we only do limited and with too many like collections. And I'm like, they're trying to perhaps extract too much from the markets and from their clients. And so I'm like,
though there is most people who are like buying Audemars Piguet are like huge fan of Audemars Piguet.
Yeah, I think they have
their fan base is like
crazy. And one thing I do understand that, not for the servicing when you buy, not the servicing when you repair, but the servicing when you buy is something at Audemars Piguet. Like for example, our dealers are dealer are really super like nice, and you have a different experience.
The experience is like
compared to Rolex.
Okay.
Where the experience is super bad. But the thing with Rolex, I think, is like you can't be wrong with a Rolex. And the things we are seeing since like 1, 2, or 3 years are really exciting. Like they are releasing some stuff that are really exciting, and I think they will keep
moving on.
Yeah, and releasing stuff that are kind of like it's something new. Like you're like, okay, you still want it, you know. And we see so many guys that have 10 plus Rolexes and are still like being excited by the new ones. And that's something very specific that I think only Rolex have succeeded to reach.
But it's quite evolving too, Rolex, right? Like with the hype behind, like it has been absolutely crazy to buy a Rolex from like an official store. You had to beg people and just like it has been quite a bad experience, I would say, for
99% of Rolex buyers.
Of holders of Rolex and so on. But I think Rolex moving forward when it comes to the.
And the last one.
The last one and only, I would say, FP Jaune, right?
FP Jaune,
We've been absolutely like fascinating by this guy. Watches are like just another level. It's a super niche market, I would say.
The experience in store too.
The way to get it also is you are going on a journey for FP Jaune. Pretty, the price is a pretty high mark. Quite similar to, I would say,
a bit hard to wear also.
Difficult to, especially for us. We are still quite young. We are not yet invited to galas and so on.
But it's not the thing.
It's not the daily watch, I would say, you can wear, but like the mechanism and the story behind is like.
The storytelling is like, I think, starting to take off. At a decent pace.
So maybe give us a quick recap because we've been here and there.
So the recap, in short, is definitely, guys, watches are a speculative asset, but it's also a cool asset. So let's also keep in mind that the thing is also to have a cool thing that you buy to also make a good investment, but like something on the side you want to wear. We see too many guys, too many friends that are buying watches, putting them in a safe, never wearing it. Man, it's like, it's crazy, it makes no sense. Life is short, buy watches, wear them, and especially, it's also an icebreaker. And that's something we start to realize, slowly but surely, like it's an icebreaker. And for business, I'm convinced that the right watches will bring you some,
the right
business opportunities. So there where the watches, of course, in a safe environment, like don't get stabbed because of what we are saying, right? But if you're in Dubai, wear watches, try to discuss with the guy in the airplane, having a cool watches and everything. I think it will always drive you some crazy opportunities. We had like some crazy stories with us or some friends that they're watching, there were like some kind of like cool references and really grow their network just from that.
Okay, what's your next purchase, or what do you have in mind for the next watch?
I'm waiting.
Still
I'm
waiting.
waiting. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm waiting.
But you have a specific model to?
Yeah, I have some, but yeah.
Not yet. Not for this one, guys.
Yeah, not for this one, guys.
Okay.
Not for this one. And what about you? Do you have? Are you not for this one too?
I have one. Not a specific one, but like I would say my next one would be like a yellow gold Rolex. Yeah. I'm craving for yellow gold recently.
That's also cool. We see too many guys only into like steel watches
and professional
and
Rolexes and so on.
Yeah.
I think there is quite some stuff too.
Yeah. And especially I think Rolex is a bit pushing into that direction of watches a bit like, of course, higher in price, but a bit more high end with platinum, gold, some specific bezels and everything. But definitely way more expensive. So yeah, that's definitely another game.
Okay, great. Let's roll things out. And smash the subscribe button.
Yeah. Share this video.
Share this video. Drop a comment. Feel free to share any kind of topics, assets you want us to review.
Yeah.
We've been touching on quite some assets. So guys, looking forward to your comments.
And looking forward for our next podcast about FUD and FOMO. So everything around FUD and FOMO, any industry, any asset class, everything, feel free to reach out to us. And we'll do some quick research and definitely drop out a cool video.
It's our first podcast, right?
Yeah, it's our first podcast.
So
and we are keen also in like by doing this podcast, getting some also like networking stuff. Because I think there is too many guys doing this thing like just
on their own.
It's a bit sad. And of course, if some luxurious brands definitely want to give us not sponsoring, some cool allocations. I'm definitely up to everything on all the brands, you know. So if you can bring that to us, would already be a big win. So cool. Thanks you guys.
Stay safe, guys.
Stay safe.
Cheers.
Bye.